So as you can see, we are going to hike uphill, because when you're going to visit coffee plantations, we need to hike. So that is why it's kind of exercises which is going to reach on top of the hill by fitness. So which means by hiking, we are going to start here till we get on top of the hill where we have coffee plantations. So let's get started. So as you can see, we have like this kind of chart which explains some like it's as you can see, it's somehow artistic. It's a history of coffee. The man who is here is called Mr. Kardi. So it was in Ethiopia in the 14th century. There was a man who was called Mr. Kardi, and then he was in the bush for feeding the goats. As he was in the bush for feeding the goats come closer to the strange tree and started eating on the berries. After that, they become excited. They didn't want to stop dancing. They danced wherever. Then they made Mr. Kardi to ask himself what happened to the goats, because he found that they are dancing, they are shouting, which made him to realize what happened. Then after that, he decided to grab some like sample to show to his wife. The time he reached it at home, he showed to the wife and told her, my goats ate this and doesn't want to stop dancing at night, because they spend a whole night by dancing, by shouting, which make somehow noisy everywhere. So that's why his wife said, it's not good idea to keep this in our home, because if you keep this in our home, if our children are going to eat on this, they are going to die, or we never know, they are going to be crazy like the gods. I think it's a good idea to go to report to the head of monastery who are near here, so that can help you to find what's going on. That's why in the morning, Mr. Kardi went to the head of monastery and told him that the gods ate something and they didn't want to stop dancing at night, because they spend a whole night by dancing, by shouting. Then head of monastery said, as your wife said, they have eaten something bad which makes the coffee like the gods to become crazy. That's why it's not a good idea to keep as human being. So head of monastery decided to take some coffee and they throw into fire in order to burn the devils. Then by letting them into fire, instead of burning, they roasted themselves. After that, they brought a good smell. Aroma comes out. That's why head of monastery said, I burned this in order to burn the devils. Then our devil smells like this. He took some out of the fire and kept it away, and says, if the gods spend a whole night awake after eating on this, and as the priest, when we are going to pray God at night, we suffer for the slaves. That's why I'm going to use this individual during my prayers. If I will die, don't use it. It will be a poison. If I will not die, we are going to use this when we are going to pray God, so that it can help us to fight against the slaves. That's why during the prayers, head of monastery ate on some coffee beans during the praying, and then prays a whole night without any stress of the slaves. That's why in the morning he said, I found something. We can take this and grind, or we can take this and chew. Then by praying, we will pray without any stress of the slaves. As introduction to other priests, they decided to take coffee and eat. Others prefer to make powder and then drink. So that's how the coffee originated, but mainly by chewing. As they were free, they decided to make drink, like they grinded coffee and they mixed with water. So that is why they decided to take water and add in the powder, then the coffee to drink was there, like the coffee we drink today. So it was in Ethiopia in the 14th century. So as we see on the map, as it was in Ethiopia in the 14th century, Ethiopian people didn't make the research of the coffee they have found in their country. But Yemen people are the one who came in Ethiopia and got some coffee, then they went with it in Yemen. So Yemen people are the one who made the research of the coffee they have found in their country, like in Ethiopia. Then the time they're going to give the name of the coffee they have found in Ethiopia, they called the coffee Arabica, because the research was made in Arabic country in Yemen. That's make Ethiopia and Yemen to be like famous, because coffee originated in Ethiopia in the place which was called Kaffa. Then Yemen, because are the one who made the research, make them also famous to be the part of coffee history. That's in general the history of coffee in Ethiopia and in Yemen. Then after that, the journey continued into Indonesia, where they found another trees which will look like the one from in Ethiopia, but the ones from in Indonesia were too strong. So instead of calling them Arabica, they called them robust, which means very strong. That's where the second variety like Robusta came from. Yes, which means we have two big families of coffee, Arabica and Robusta. Then after that, the journey of coffee continued into Latin America by Portuguese. It started in Brazil in 1727. Other countries of Latin America like Costa Rica, Colombia, Hawaii, Jamaica started growing coffee according to Brazil. After that, the journey of coffee came back in Africa. In Rwanda, we received coffee in 1904. If you look very well, Ethiopia and Rwanda we are very close, but coffee went all over the world and had to come back in Africa, especially in Rwanda, after 500 years. Then the first place to receive coffee, it was in Mibirizi near Nyungwe Forest. So that is in general the history of coffee all over the world and here in Rwanda. So the second step is talking about different regions and the soil, like where is good to grow coffee and where is not good to grow coffee. As you know, Rwanda is called the land of thousand hills, which means when you're going to plant coffee, you need high altitude, like high elevation. The reason why is this: the time you're going on high elevation, carbon dioxide is going up, then oxygen is going down. So green leaves breathe carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide in coffee is the one which is going to provide what we call heavy coffee beans. So when we mean heavy coffee beans, is the coffee which has good quality on the market. So that is why we need altitude from 1500 to 2500 meter. So you understand, when you look about Rwanda has good quality of coffee. Another thing you have to know is about the weather. It is not good idea to plant coffee where it's very hot or where it's very cold. The reason why is this: the time you grow coffee where it's very hot, the leaves of coffee are going to dry, then after drying they are going to drop down. So if we expect to harvest like 1 kilo, because the leaves are the one to produce heavy coffee beans, we can't get any heavy coffee beans, which means the quality is not going to be good. So that is why also when it is very cold, the trees are not going to produce anything, just they can stay like babies. So that is why we need temperature from 13 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius, not less, not more. So you understand also, when you look about the weather, Rwanda is on top. Another thing you have to know is about soil. Soil is good, or it is good when you have soft soil, because when you're going to plant coffee where it's very like clay, sand, stones, the roots are going to dry. By drying, they're going to lose production. But when you look somewhere where there is like a soft soil, like a volcanic soil, you're going to help roots of coffee to attract minerals easily. So that is why some places grow coffee while others don't have, because of the soil, because of the weather, and because of the altitude. That's the conditions, or that's the main reasons make some countries to grow coffee while others don't have. Another thing you have to know is about varieties and period. As we have seen down, we have two big families of coffee. We have Arabica and Robusta. And you have to know that when you grow Arabica, you need to work very hard. You need to prune, you need to weed, you need to fertilize, you need to mulch, you need to take care about Arabica in order to get best quality. But Robusta, you don't need to do such a thing, because when you look about Robusta is very strong, is going to resist itself. But Arabica needs like care. So that is why you can find that Arabica has more flavors like chocolate, mangoes, pineapple, orange. There are so many flavors in Arabica, but Robusta is only bitter. The reason why Arabica is self-pollinated, while Robusta is not pollinated. So that is why many coffee lovers prefer to buy Arabica, even looks expensive, but they are looking for good quality of coffee. Then the good quality of coffee is only Arabica. Yes, it is recommended to check on these things in order to make sure that the coffee you're going to buy has good quality on the market. First of all, you have to check if it is 100% Arabica. That's the first point you have to mention when you're going to buy coffee somewhere. Another thing you have to check is about where it's coming from. When we mean where it's coming from, we are meaning about the altitude. We have seen that is from 1,500 to 2,500 meter. So you have to select such kind of conditions or such kind of things we are mentioning in order to make sure that the coffee quality is going to be consistent. Another thing you have to check is about the flavors, because the coffee which is coming from here is not like the one from other side. It depends on the soil, depends on the weather, depends on how you brew it, depends on how you roast it. It is the one which is going to give you the difference between one coffee and another one. So be careful when you're going to buy coffee. You have to check for those things. Another thing you have to know, when you're going to fertilize the coffee, it is recommended to use organic fertilizer. Then the organic fertilizer used is not from far away. So when we are going to start the process, we process the coffee, and the skin of the coffee we keep somewhere like 1 year. Then after that, they're going to decompose and become compost. So we bring back here to fertilize the coffee. So it's a coffee which feeds another coffee. Not only that, when you are going to take off the sorghum trees, we keep here like to mulch, to keep humidity around the soil. But as the rain is going to rain them, they're going to decompose and become compost. So we prefer to use organic fertilizer rather than chemical things. Another method we use, we have a program where we give domestic animals like cows, sheep, goat to the coffee farmers. So they are going to help them to get manure for fertilizing their coffee. So we want to make sure that they are going to use such kind of manure like compost, organic compost, to their coffee in order to make sure that the quality is going to be consistent. Yes. So another point is about the enemies of coffee, like some diseases and a pest which can destroy the quality and the quantity we expected to have. So one of them is called berry borer disease. Berry borer disease is caused by the insect, the ants. The ants are going to come and bite the connection of seed and the tree. By biting the connection of seed and tree, you understand that some minerals which are going inside of the seed are going to be missed. So the time they are going to be missed, the seeds are going to dry because of missing of minerals. After drying, they are going to drop down. So if we expect to harvest like 2 kilos, 3 kilos, we can get like 1.5, like 0.5. So you understand we lose production. So that is why to fight against berry borer, we need to use tobacco, because nicotine kills the ants. That's the first one, because we take the powder of tobacco and mix with the water and we come to spray by using pumps. That's the first one. The second one is what we call leaf rust disease. Leaf rust disease is caused by the insect, the fungus. The fungus is going to come, and after that is going to let some bacteria on the leaves. After that, they're going to make leaves to change the color. So it's going to change from green to yellow. After yellow, it's going to be like brown. Then after that, it's going to make leaves to change. So that is why it is not good. We try to make sure that it is well prevented. So that's why it's very dangerous. Everyone who is in the coffee sector cares, because when you lose some. Then to prevent such kind of diseases, we use more fertilizer, because when you put more fertilizer on the trees are going to be stronger. So that's why it is very dangerous. Even when you look about the leaves, they turn into yellow. So that is why when we see that the leaves are turning, we need to make sure that fertilizer is enough. That's the second one. Then the third one is what we call antestia bug. So antestia bug is the bug which is going to come and make hole inside of the cherries. Then after that, is going to make cherries, or is going to make some eggs inside. Then after making some eggs inside, it's going to fly. Then when we come to pick the cherries, we pick as normal, but when we are going to test the coffee which are bitten by the bugs, so it's going to taste like raw potato. So you understand, the coffee which tastes like raw potato is not good at all. So that is why it is very, very dangerous wherever the world. It means everyone who is in the coffee sector scares, and sometimes by fighting we use pyrethrum. So pyrethrum are the white flower which are grown around Volcano National Park in Rwanda. So they used to make pesticide from them. So that is why when we take such kind of flower and we dry them, then after drying we grind, we make it powder. So we take the powder of pyrethrum and mix with water, and we come to spray by using pumps. So that is in general what we call enemies of coffee. Another thing, we are going to look about traditional roasting. So we are going to roast the coffee by using traditional method. As you can see, we have this clay pot, we have this fire, we have even some coffee makers. So we have French press, we have a spoon like coffee spoon. So we have everything. By this method, it is half tradition. We need to pour coffee like this, then we roast. It's going to take like 7 minutes to roast medium dark. Then by roasting, you have to make sure that you still turning, because by turning you can control in every corner of the pot. But if you stop, some of the coffee are going to burn. So that is why by roasting traditionally, you need to turn this stick around. Yes. Then
Hinyambara nyambara magwi zitura mu gatuza abagabo twaragowe hinyambara magwi.
After, you see that we have traditional grinder. This traditional grinder is the one when we are going to grind it, we need to use, and this stick is like the one which is going to make it thin. So that is why by grinding, it depends on the coffee maker you're going to use, you can distinguish, like you can grind it thin. By the machine, we have like a grinding in terms of espresso, in terms of French press, in terms of filter paper, so it depends. Then after roasting, you see we are now going to brew our coffee by using this French press. So after this brewing, we are going to serve our coffee. So the rock, Nyirankoko rock, this is the next step, which is going to teach us the history of Rwanda. So it is the rock which contains some historical thing. It's a historical rock between Rwanda and Burundi. Then as it has the history related with this kind of story from Burundi to Rwanda. This rock is called Nyirankoko, and it contains some historical thing related with three kinds. We have magic, spirituality, love, and the victory. So this on top of the hill is where we have this logo, and as you can see, we have like men and women, and we have this woman and man. They are just taking off the cherries like a picking. So we, as a Huye Mountain Coffee, we need to buy their coffee, and then after that we give them money. So some of the money we give to them are going to use in their daily life, because they have saving groups. They can take money from saving groups so that they can solve their daily life. So this kind of picture shows that as a Huye Mountain Coffee, what kind of responsibilities do we have to the local community. Then this logo contains David and Family Limited. So David is the boss, is the owner of Huye Mountain Coffee. Then when we mean family, we are meaning about workers, farmers, visitors who are in cooperation with Mr. David. So we take David like the father of the family, and that's why we have David and the Family as company's name. Then inside of the logo we have Huye Mountain Coffee. So this Huye Mountain Coffee is that one. That mountain around it has like some coffee farmers farmers who live there, they harvest their coffee and bring to us, and then we process ourselves. That's why we have chosen to call our brand Huye Mountain Coffee, because it is near of us. It's where we get like first production. And this wooden bike is the one we used before to transport coffee production from the coffee farmers to our factory. But nowadays we changed. We are now using trucks. So the trucks we are using now, we are making sure that as we are developing, somehow we need to do like some innovations. That's why we are not going to forget where we have been. Then the target is striving for the best. In our daily activities, we'd like to create innovations on what we do. So that's why maybe we have like accommodation on top of the hill. We have like this kind of camping. So we have to make sure that our guests are going to stay here for 1 night, 2 nights. Even they can experience coffee tour while they are like at their accommodation. So we're still trying to improve on the future. Yes. So the coffee washing station, which is going to be the next, it's second coffee washing station, because you have 2 coffee washing stations. So by starting the process, as you see now, they are depumping. So we have this machine which is going to depump. Like it contains, it is Penagos, it's from Colombia. So it produces 2 tons in 2 hours. So which means we make sure that by processing, we needed to make sure that the floaters are taken away. Then after that, we are going to put outside for drying. But before drying, they're going to be taken in the tanks where they're going to ferment without water. Then after fermentation, we are going to put on table for sorting. Then after sorting, we are going to sort out the defected coffee, like those bad ones. Then after that, we can take away for just drying. So you see, we have 2 kinds of processing. We have natural coffee and we have fully washed coffee. So natural coffee, we take the seeds like cherries and we dry them directly without opening the skin. That is natural process. Then in fully washed coffee like this one, it passes through the machine. Then they are going to depump, they are going to ferment, they are going to wash and grade. Then after that, they can sort out the defected ones. Then they bring here to fertilize the coffee, to dry them. So it means if you check about these 2 processes, the big difference is this natural coffee contains sweetness and acidity, but natural is not having so much acidity. So it depends on the clients we have by export. Yes. Then this is the last one is just roasting room. It is more than roasting, because on top of the hill we have seen the traditional one, but it's a half modern. Like it is this machine, it is Dietrich. It contains some Dutch name. So it contains 12 kilos of the green coffee, which means 12 kilograms of the green coffee contains or gives you 10 kilos of final product, like roasted coffee. Then by roasting, they put inside. Then after that, they can roast as depends, like a medium dark roast. So it depends. Then after roasting, there is a packaging session, which is there. You see there are some packages which are roasted. Then this kind of coffee are for the local market. We only look for local market, not international, because by international we export only green coffee beans. Then they're going to roast themselves. So that is in general what we call from seeds to cup. So from seeds to cup experience is where you can get whole information related with how to roast, how to grind, how to plant, even everything related with the coffee contains everything live here. So thank you for your kind attention. See you in our next video.